I think a lot of developers are quietly frustrated with this idea of just keep learning. Because, like, when exactly? What exactly? You have full-time job, maybe a family like me, and you are trying to survive your sprint, your packed life. And then you hear advice like, well, just code more in your free time. Yeah, okay. So let's be real. If I had 5 hours a week to grow as a developer, that's it. No extra time, no burnout. This is exactly what I would do. I'm serious about the constraint, not 5 hours plus weekend nights if I feel motivated. No, just 5 hours. Because most advice breaks the moment real life shows up. So instead of building the perfect system, you are building something that actually survives your life. Here's a bit annoying and brutally honest part. Most developers don't lack time. Like most humans don't lack time. They waste it. Not intentionally, but still, I've been there for sure. Random tutorials, endless YouTube software engineering videos. By the way, thank you for watching this one. Jumping between tools, starting side projects that never ship. It feels like progress, but nothing really changes. Nothing moves the needle. So the goal here is simple: maximum impact per hour. So if I had just 5 hours, I'd split it like this. 2 hours, solve real problems. 1.5 hours, thinking and visibility. That's it. No complicated system, no productivity hacks, just 3 things that actually move the needle, in my honest opinion. So let's get to real problems. First thing, I would work on real-world problems, not tutorials, not toy examples, no lead code, real problems. And yeah, I know this is where most advice becomes vague. So here's something concrete I actually like. Coding challenges created by John Cricket. These are not your typical lead code like reverse a string exercises. You are building things like your own Redis, your own rate limiter, your own load balancer. Small versions, but real systems. And here's why this matters. Most platforms, like LeetCode, train you for interviews. And whether these interviews are actually measuring the right things, let's discuss that some other day, okay? But these challenges trains you for reality. And there's a massive difference. Because in the real work, things are messy, requirements are unclear, and nothing is isolated. That's where growth actually happens, right? If your learning doesn't involve building real things, you are not growing. You are consuming. I always learn the most by getting my hands a bit dirty. And first-hand experience leads to best ration of information/skill that actually sticks. Works for me every single time. So let's get back to coding challenges. And, just pick one challenge. Just one. Spend 2 hours struggling with it, don't finishing it, don't optimizing it, just getting deeper into the problem. And that's enough. By the way, I did interview John, the creator of Coding Challenges, last year, so I will pin the video on the top. So this is the part most developers skip, and it's the reason they stay stuck, because they do the work, but they don't process it. There's a simple distinction I like. Refactoring equals making code cleaner. Factoring equals understanding the problem better. Most developers refactor on a daily basis, right? Very few actually think, meaning they don't stop and ask questions like, what is the real problem here? What are the patterns? What did I not understand? So, what do you actually do? In this hour and a half, you process. But more importantly, you close the loop. Because the moment you start asking better questions, your learning starts guiding itself. So in concrete terms, write one page, explain the system you touched, describe what confused you, simplify it. But don't just describe. Ask, why does this actually work? What would break if I change this? Where is the complexity really coming from? What part do I still not fully understand? And here's the interesting part. Those questions will naturally point you back to what you need to learn next. So you don't need a roadmap. The gaps in your understanding become your roadmap. And that's the loop. You build, you get confused, you trying to explain, you discover gaps, you go deeper, and then just repeat. And every time you go through that loop, your understanding sharpens. Or even just, talk it out loud for 2 minutes. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it. And this leads us to the part 3, the visibility. This is the part people avoid the most because it feels uncomfortable, right? If nobody sees your growth, your career actually moves slower. And that's something to think about. Software engineering is becoming a compounding game. Small improvements stack over time, but only if they are also visible. Let me explain. If you learn something, understand it, and share it, it compounds. If you don't, it feels like it resets every week. So what to actually do? Visibility doesn't mean becoming an influencer. It can be, one LinkedIn post, one internal doc, lunch and learn with your team, one message in the community of practice channel, or one short video. But here's the real reason this matters. The moment you try to explain what you learned to someone else, everything changes. You are forced to organize your messy thoughts, notice gaps in your understanding, and simplify things that felt complicated. Actually, you need to choose what actually matters. And that process is brutal in the best way, because it exposes where you are still fuzzy. You think you understand something until you try to explain it to someone else. So that's when you realize, wait, I don't actually know why this works. And that's where real learning happens. So this isn't just about being visible. It's about forcing clarity. Just something to have in mind. Growth that isn't visible doesn't compound. So what does this actually look like in real life? Very simple. 2 hours building something real. About an hour and a half thinking it through, and about an hour and a half making it visible. That's your 5 hours. If you want something concrete, here's how I would do it. Honestly, it doesn't even have to be that structured. You just need 3 moments during the week where you show up with a different mindset. One moment where you build something real and use coding challenges, that's the easiest way. One moment when you slow down and actually think about it. And one moment where you try to explain it to someone else. And that's it. That's it. No complicated system, no tracking apps, no unnecessary overhead, just 3 focused sessions done. And now you probably ask, well, wait, what about newsletters? What about YouTube videos? What about all the content out there? Should you just ignore it? No. And I'm not going to pretend I don't watch Netflix or just sit and chill. I do. But here's a trick I use. I don't treat that as learning time. I just steal a few small moments from the time that would be wasted. Like instead of opening Instagram for 10 minutes in a tram, I read a newsletter. Or instead of immediately going into full streaming mode in the evening because I'm tired, I might watch one video that actually makes me think first. That's it. I'm not replacing my life, my relaxation, my leisure time. I'm just slightly upgrading parts of it. And yeah, most of it won't stick. But some ideas in the background will. Some will sit there, work, and some will click later when you are solving a real problem. And that's enough. Honestly, that's enough. But here's the important boundary. Don't replace your focused 5 hours with this. This is not the core. This is just background input, just a noise. The real growth still happens when you build, think, and explain. So if I only had 5 hours, I would cut immediately courses that I don't finish, random tech explorations, complex science projects, productivity systems, all the noise. You don't need a better system. You actually need fewer things. You don't need 20 hours a week to grow. You need clarity, you need constraints, and you need to stop pretending you have more time than you actually do in your real life. And you need consistency. 5 focused hours will beat 20 distracted ones every single time. If you had 5 hours this week, what would you actually do with them? Tell me in the comments. I actually read them and I am curious about your version of this system, how it would look like. And if this way of thinking resonates with you, you will probably like some of my other videos there. I go deeper into things like learning, growth, and how real dev life looks like. So yeah, check those out. But first, drop your 5 hours plan below. All right, that's it from me. Take those 5 hours seriously this week. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.